Welcome. Hello, fellow Whovians. Boom. How are all of you today? My name is Paparazzo Dave Chapman, and welcome to a very unique episode of The Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. We're going to do things a little bit differently. No one's really available to do the show today. We didn't want to leave you guys without a show, and I didn't want to just put up a rerun. So what we're going to do, as you can see kind of up here, we're going to do a quick rewatch. Now, I'm here in, how do I put this? In a Count Floyd sort of way. Those of you who are of a certain generation, mostly Gen X and above, might remember back in the day when TV movies usually would have a host. You know, they would come on and they were, the trope is now they're dressed up as a stupid vampire, like a terrible version of the vampire. And they would introduce stuff and they would pop in between commercials and between bits and kind of just help the flow along. And that's what I'm going to be doing today, because we don't want to run all of the old commercials. I've edited out a lot of time-sensitive conversation that's happened in this video. So I'm just going to be popping out. If you are here in the comments, please say hello. Hi, Roger. There's Dan. Hi, Dan. Bi-generation and regeneration scenes time. Dan, gosh, I hope I got 15 gets a bi-generation scene 2 after series 3. That's a conversation we're going to have. That's going to be interesting. I hadn't thought of that. Carl, hello. Can't stay, but I wanted to come in, put in my like for Dave. Thank you, Carl. Welcome. Welcome and goodbye. If you have seen this episode, you have seen, Carl, you have seen this episode. You're good. We are going to be running from, I think it was about 2 years ago, the Doctor Who Velocity interview that we did when they brought out their last episode about the Boglins, in celebration of their new episode, the Cybermen, that dropped a month or two ago. We're hoping to have them back on the show soon. Soon being before Shooty. Yes, but where's your costume? This was a last minute thing. I'm not even home. This is not even, like I said, this is not my usual backdrop, right? So I have no costume. The closest I've got is my roller derby jersey, as opposed to my Quidditch jerseys. Hey, Andrew. Cassandra Peterson, the Princess of Darkness, Dave. Yep. Yes, Elvira is, in fact, would be a great example of that. That is not entirely the trope, although still a horror host. So the Turner Classic Movies, I think, occasionally still does it, where they have kind of bumpers. Canadians of a certain generation, in that, I'm going to say, really like tail end of Gen X, Zennial, and maybe and into millennials might remember PJs. This was a play on VJs, which was when MTV still had music, was video jockey, which of course played off of disc jockey from the radio. So it's a progression. So that's what I'm doing. PJ Dave here. Yes, I saw this episode. I've watched a few of her shows too. She does great on a limited budget. Oh my God, yes. Wait till you see. I've got a couple of clips of Velocity, some trailers of theirs, the commercial that you often will see, and a teaser they put up last year. I'm waiting for 15 and 14 to reemerge, so the healing 14 makes sense with 15. And that could be interesting. Hey, Mark, how's it going? Love a bit of Elvira. We had Dr. Terror in the US. Yeah, I'm not quite. I'm no Elvira. Sorry to say, but yeah, no, it's. Thank you for stopping in, Carl. We'll miss you. We'll see you next week. Let's not forget Crypt Keeper. Yes, Crypt Keeper from Tales from the Crypt. But again, that's still a little bit older. It's something that's kind of gone out of fashion. Out of vogue, if you will, which is a term that is also out of vogue. Did Rocky and Bullwinkle do the same thing in their cartoons? Sort of. That being more of a sketch type show, it's not quite the same thing, but it's similar. Same thing with like the original Muppet Show, kind of, but not really. But with that being said, please keep having a conversation in the comments. I'm going to be popping in and out, both on screen and in the comments, as we go along. And we are going to start with the first segment of us chatting with Doctor Who Velocity. And I am out of here for a few minutes.
almost hit the wrong button. Hello, everybody. Welcome again to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. My name is Christian Basil, and today it's your time to get into high gear, high velocity, as we can put it there. As we interview the team from Doctor Who Velocity, you're going to be introduced to Miss Krystal Moore, who is actually way before Jodie Whittaker. She is, technically in the fan world, the first female Doctor. You're going to get to know more about Krystal and her journey as she goes inside the TARDIS, takes over, and takes on the Boglins. You're also going to meet her wonderful husband. Wow, that I told you I should not be allowed to get off work and start doing this out there. Mr. Chris Phillips, he is the lovely husband of Krystal Moore, and I'm going to probably start over after a while there. He's also producer and does everything else on Doctor Who Velocity, producer, special effects out there. Remember, for those of you who are not familiar with Doctor Who Velocity, they do these shows on a shoestring to absolutely no budget whatsoever. They do this on zero funds. This is a fan letter and a fan kiss to everybody who loves Doctor Who, as well as the TV show Prime out there. My name's Christian Basil. Welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, let me go ahead and introduce our special guest. Let me go ahead and start off, first of all, the gentleman who would be the producer and everything else that makes Doctor Who Velocity happen. Let me introduce you to Mr. Chris Phillips. How you doing there, Chris? Welcome.
Hello, how's it going? Nice to see you guys.
It goes, brother. Thank you for joining us today. And we had an exciting. I was hoping to get you last weekend when it started, but it's already premiered. So tell us a little bit about your role in Doctor Who Velocity, and then we're going to bring in our very special guest.
Absolutely. So, of course, Doctor Who Velocity is basically a YouTube fan film. So it's we have probably one of the first female doctors, Krystal Moore, my lovely partner, who plays the Doctor. And then, everything else is local actors. We're based in Boise, Idaho. We have local actors. We've got kids with rubber masks on, yogurt pots for Daleks, all that kind of stuff. So, we've been doing it since about 2017, and we usually make 1 or 2 episodes a year. It's totally a hobby project, just something fun to do. And so, so far it's been, there's some long nights involved, but we enjoy it. And we're on to, we've just released episode 8, which is the Boglins. I don't know if any of you guys remember the 1980s creature puppets, the Boglins, but those are the ones in this episode.
I had to look it up. I actually, for about a brief moment, I thought you guys made it up. I was like, wait a minute, what is this? I thought it was kind of like one of those things with what is it, the Blair Witch Project? You kind of built in a backstory. You were explaining it, and I was just like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I was like, oh, there were really Boglins.
They're really
We'll go into that story in just a moment, because I'm going to bring it on your lovely life. I love the fact that you can say, hey, is your wife here? And you can just pull out a sticker and just show, yes, she's here. There you go. This is the lovely Krystal Moore. How you doing there, Krystal? This is the Doctor.
Oh, hello. Thank you so much for having me on. I always love talking about Doctor Who, love coming on, and it was nice to see Chris's face there for a minute. I don't know. Oh.
I love your dress sense. We got Sesame Street representing in the house. The Doctor is representing Sesame Street, Big Bird, and all those guys. So how you doing, Krystal? Welcome, and thank you for coming up on the show.
Doing very well, thank you. How are you guys?
We're doing great. And just to break the ice, I'm going to go ahead and release so everybody can see each other right there. There's the scary. There we go. Ah! All right, we're going to stop. We just want to see Krystal. That's it.
Wrong button. That's my fault.
There you go. No worries.
I was trying to do that so that he could put the sticker back up, and accidentally took him right out of it.
We had Krystal on from the very first season of our show. This is when we were just an audio recording. We didn't have the team that we have now, and we grown since then, just a little bit since you've been on the last show. The commercial I remembered, but the toys not so much. So without further ado, we will introduce you. Just in case you didn't meet the intro, let me go ahead and run it. This is the trailer for the latest episode of Doctor Who Velocity. You can go on their Facebook page and their YouTube channel, find it. Let me go ahead and show you just a brief, if you're just joining us, the trailer for Doctor Who Velocity, The Boglins. I think I just wanted to see the Boglin fart again. That's all. That's exactly. Oh, wait. What do you want? No, Krystal. Where you can't put that away. Get over here.
Yeah, she's got the Boglins out.
I've got them out. They've completely invaded my house for real. There's these two, and I'll just pan over to this corner. You can see there's 3 more, and there's yet more behind there. They are literally multiplying in my house.
God.
Wow. I actually thought the Boglins were the gremlins and just like some takeoff of that.
It's like a little puppet. Look at that.
Yeah.
Well, so in another 6 months, are we getting a Mad Balls version?
Exactly. So the Boglins, they were a toy from the 1980s. They are American, and they're created by a guy called Tim Clark, and he worked on a bunch of those sort of 80s puppet feature films like Dark Crystal type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
He used to make these slimy Muppet type of characters for a lot of those films. And anyway, he did a deal with Mattel and made these Boglins toys, and they were big when I was about 9 years old. I guess I was about 9 or 10 when I got them. And so many years later, there was a
Carl.
there was a Kickstarter. Yeah, people think I made them up. Exactly. So there was a Kickstarter to bring the Boglins back, because Boglins are so rare that an original Boglins toy is about $500 right now. But they released new ones, which were $30, which meant my dreams could finally come true, and I could finally make the Boglin film that I'd always wanted to make. So
Melanie says her brother had 2 of them. Now, I guess the question is, I wish I could put you on split screen, but let me go ahead and bring everybody into the thing. Well, actually, we got a commercial break. When we return, we're going to discuss more about Doctor Who Velocity, how the Boglins are involved. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend. Wow.
He's trying to find the button. Go to commercial
What's
break.
that?
Yes. Oh, Chris knows where this is.
Let me just do
Chris
this.
knows how this is going on.
It's like Twitch. Ask me to hydrate every now and then. Here we go.
Yes. All right, I'm still in there. Hey, there we go. So that was our first segment with Doctor Who Velocity. Yes, even the guests are going to make fun of Christian for not being able to push the button. Andrew says, I missed this episode first time around, so this is good. Great. I'm glad you got to see it. That's why we're doing this, is we want to bring back some of these episodes when the context is relevant. I was really tempted to do like a whole bunch of, all of our 8th Doctor interviews leading up to our March of the Masters stuff, since we were doing all of the Eric Roberts stuff. Why does David Chapman look so young and throwback? Because I had less of this. That's honestly why. I just was a little bit less shaggy. Do they still have Boglins in 2024? I will tell you what. I will look that up when I bring up this next thing. I'll go and I'll take a look at that. I believe this is only, like I said, this is a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, maybe. So it is not very historic. So the Boglins were available when this came up. They do still have them. There you go. Andrew says yes, they still have them. So fabulous. I'll look up the Boglins website. If I remember doing so when this episode came out, but I didn't before this started. So we're going to come up here and we will bring up the next one.
Here we go. Back to.
Hello.
There you go.
Hello.
I got my friends Dave, Brian, Chris, producer, and everything else on Doctor Who Velocity, the lovely Mackenzie Floor and Krystal Moore, who is the doctor on Doctor Who Velocity. And for just our friends who may not be familiar with Doctor Who Velocity, Krystal, I'm going to you. Tell us about what inspired you to become the Doctor and where Doctor Who Velocity comes in. I'll get to you too.
Great question. So it was actually after Capaldi, or actually the first idea I had was after Matt Smith left. I just had like this comedy sort of a satire. It was a scene that had already been played out in Doctor Who, but the Doctor's a female, and how that would play out just differently. Like that was the initial seed, I guess. You know, I told Chris about it, and we laughed about it, and then Matt Smith was the Doctor, and then he left, and it was after that that we sort of came back to this, and we're like, let's do it. I think we could do this. Chris went looking online, and it was like, yeah, there's totally an audience there for that, and we want to do it. Let's make a short, you know, 1 episode, put it out there, see what happens, and it was one, you know, just a lot of fun, but was also really well received. So it's been
it was
great.
And I love the first episode, which would actually hint into Jodie's. And just for the sake of continuity, if you want to call it that, in the Doctor Who multiverse, Krystal was actually the Doctor before Jodie, so she's technically the first female Doctor in our universe out there. But the first episode would actually become an episode slightly into Jodie's season, which would be the Witchfinders. You actually did the Salem Witch Trials first, so that was a one.
We did. Well, we actually, I think that was the first place I wanted to go. That was the first episode I wrote, and you know, it was a lot of, you know, I sent it to Chris, and he made sure it works as a script and all of that kind of stuff. But I wanted to go to that place because I wanted to address sort of I thought that would be the most obvious time and place to show a very real difference in a person with authority, and how they're treated as a man versus as a woman, because we have been to that time period in previous Doctor Who episodes with previous Doctor Who incarnates. So I thought it was an interesting time to go to, and not just take that witch, you know, and try to save her, but actually muck it all up and make it much worse. And you know, how things can get just out of control. That's
just Doctor Who MO right there. It's just the Doctor comes like,
oh no, we gotta bring her back. But what I loved about that specific witch, because that's the first witch that was prosecuted and put to death for witchcraft. And I like her. I love her as this person, but I also love her in history because she was guilty. She did believe herself a witch, and she was doing these things. And I tried to make that real in the character, but also light, because that doesn't necessarily mean there's an evilness there, you know. So I love the way Jen played Agnes. That was a delight to watch.
Just in time for Halloween to do the Salem Witch Trials there. I think this is how Bette Midler started. Speaking of which, Chris, your wife comes up. She comes up and goes towards you and says, "I want to be the Doctor," and go, "Well, what budget do we have here?"
Yeah, exactly. So actually, just a quick one. So the Salem Witch Trials were the American witch trials. The witch trials in our episode are actually in Chelmsford in Essex, which predates the Salem. So what happened is the guy called Matthew Hopkins was the Witchfinder General in England, and he kick-started off this whole thing of hunting witches, and then it kind of spread over the pond. So that's where that comes from.
Oh, okay, cool beans.
But yes, so we decided to start making, like, you know, a Doctor Who fan film, and initially, the thing about doing something from home on no budget is it can like drag on for like months and months. So for that first episode, we really set ourselves a hard deadline to get it finished, which was kind of fun. And it definitely involved a lot of shortcuts and sort of creativity to get it made.
Right there. So, Krystal, you're now the Doctor. You're playing the role. I guess you're 13th alternate, since you're coming in behind Capaldi in this case. Wibbly wobbly timely wimey. I guess this is the universe that we're in.
Wobbly timely wimey.
So, getting the TARDIS I thought was an interesting set, because it was no frills, but I think it was actually the best layout because it's basically referencing back to classic Who in a little bit of a sense, but it's just empty in there.
It's behind me. That's it.
That's
It's a white
wow.
wall. It's a white wall. That's it.
Chris, you didn't have to tell everybody about that.
Movie
I
magic.
wouldn't known anything out there.
No, I really liked that creative decision on Chris's part. I felt it was, really fresh and clean and complemented kind of what we were wanting to do, which was not just put like a girl in boys' clothes and do this, but this is a different character and a whole fresh sort of start. And he showed me some mock-ups of what he wanted to do with the, white walls and just sort of infinite space. And I was excited because there was nothing there, meaning that the possibilities were endless. Like I got right into making that cardboard, stand there, and was so excited to just have this really clean, smooth sort of anything is possible. Yeah, Chris has got it there. That's
what a way to just ruin the illusion.
I made that with no, it doesn't ruin the illusion. It means you can do it too. I got some poster board for making, in the craft section at Walmart, and
Walmart, that's an IKEA TARDIS waiting to happen. That's in the corner somewhere. Going like, build your
for
own
real.
TARDIS.
I made Davros's wheelchair out of similar materials, just some geometry and duct tape.
If you've seen the episodes, let them know what you thought of them, because you could actually binge watch Doctor WHO, I would think, within a couple hours.
Yeah.
So it's a great show to watch, and just something you can binge if you're like, I just want to see something. So check it out there. They got it on their YouTube channel, which I did not put up. Sorry, but I will.
That's okay. Well, you're typing that. Here's a fun question.
Go ahead.
From our wonderful hashtag King Tom.
What
is your
question? Is that?
I have no idea.
What is your favorite color?
We're gonna go to that.
I think he's doing a Monty Python and the Holy Grail.
Yeah, in other words, he wants to know how he can get on the show.
Oh, I see. He wants to be on the show. Yeah. But first, you have to move to Boise, Idaho. So there's that.
Yeah.
I don't want to tell you what house prices are like right now, but good luck. I mean, the more the merrier. We're always up for volunteers or whatever. Send us a little a reel or something of you acting, I would say. But honestly, yeah, it's kind of tough. Like living in Boise, you'll probably notice that it's a bit like the BBC. You see the same 5 actors in every single episode because that's who's here. So
yeah, that's why you see the same 5 actors in Doctor Who Velocity. We've got 8. Maybe we can rotate in and out of things, put different makeup on, or make a robot.
BBC does that. They make them into doctors. They have
Peter
Capaldi show up in the fires of Pompeii, and then a minute later he's now I've got an explanation now. Still trying to figure out the Colin Baker one, but
funnily enough,
sorry,
we used both of our kids in this episode. So Magdalene plays the girl in it, and then our little boy's in it as well. He's about 6, and because we did that, the YouTube algorithm just absolutely murdered us because they hate people pimping their kids out on YouTube now.
What?
And there's been so many crazy parents that have those prank shows where they prank kids, like, oh, we ate all your candy, oh, we've killed the dog or whatever, and the kids are crying and they're like, haha, just joking, and they get like millions of views. And there's been a few people who've had their kids taken away by CPS because they just went too far on their YouTube pranks. So if you put your own kids in your videos now, you get all these warnings come up. YouTube keep sending me warnings like, "Oh, are you sure about this?" And it's all good. We don't get enough viewers that they're in any peril. So
that's your daughter on the right. What's her name?
Magdalene.
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 Yeah, Mags, yeah.
She's pretty smart. I mean, when she was doing her lines and everything, I was just like, wow, she's really, really. She's got her mother's chops.
Yeah.
There, so
True.
And
She'll say hello. She's sitting over here being.
Oh, well, there we go.
Hey.
I know.
There's a troublemaker.
Hello.
yeah.
Yep.
I'm glad. I'm not giving too many spoilers away, but I'm glad your right shoulder healed very well.
Very,
she
very
can't,
well.
she can't hear me.
We do have the antidote. No, she can't.
Yeah, and the guy you had up in the middle there is a guy, local guy called Dig. I think he's about 16, 17 now. And we met him at the local trampoline park. And he was doing backflips. He said, I really want to be Spider-Man. You know, I want to replace Tom Holland. And I was like, hang on a minute. Do you like acting? And he's like, yeah. I said, give me your mum's number and I'll see if she would let you be in a little film. And so obviously he probably thought I was a weird creeper. And we sent his mum a little email with a link to the show and, told him he'd be home before bedtime or whatever. And she thankfully agreed and said yes. And he was up for being in it. So yeah, it was it was kind of a fun local teenage drama production this time. And it was pretty enjoyable.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to get hit to commercial break. When we return, we're going to talk to Krystal and Chris about more Doctor Who Velocity, and we're going to talk more about the Boglins. When we return, please continue to stay logged on, tuned in, and become part of the legend.
Well, hello.
Meet the Doctor.
I'm the doctor.
But not the one you were expecting.
All right, sexy. It's time to go home.
Doctor Who Velocity. Streaming now.
Yep, totally forgot. There we go. No, I didn't. I also didn't cut that very well. I forgot I had put the commercial in there. Sorry. So yeah, that's the regular commercial for Doctor Who Velocity, which you will have seen very likely more than once on the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS, unless you're new, which is fine. For those of you who are watching in the comments, I did put up the Doctor Who Velocity YouTube channel. There it is again. YouTube.com at Doctor Who Velocity, where they have all of their episodes. They have shorts, they have audio dramas, they have all sorts of fun stuff there. So you can go check out all of their stuff after this episode is done. After, not now. You stay here with me. Stay. Good. So yeah, that is our second segment. The question was raised whether or not Boglins do exist still. And yes, the answer was already answered, but yes, we do. Let me grab a screen share of... Actually, I'm going to do this. I'm going to show this off first. Look at the price on this. Look at that one on the left. Dwork is $378.43 Canadian for that Boglin. You've got other prices here, 87, 132, 130. Like, look at that. When they were saying these used to be kind of expensive, they really, really were. And really, really are. Let's be honest there. Whereas here is the new website. Bloop. And the new pricing. So you can get a 6-pack deal, $120 US plus shipping. Or $200 plus shipping, depending on which specific versions you have. They've got all of the different versions of these different Boglins. You've got merch beyond just the Boglins themselves. They do have a YouTube channel as well. They have a whole section on Boglins lore, media and partners, your usual stuff. Boglins are back. The newest wave of Boglins are now available for you to take home. But be warned, they have a hard time staying out of trouble. So yeah, there's the Boglins website. Why don't we take a look at the next segment, which I have to bring up, kind of like this. Part 3. There we go. So here is our third segment with Doctor Who Velocity.
After that, we're back with Krystal Moore and Chris Phillips of Doctor Who Velocity, and I want to talk more about these guys. All the enemies that you brought into the Velocity universe, why were these guys the one? Why were the Boglins running? What was your inspiration for the Boglins? Aside from Krystal Moore having 20 of them in her bedroom.
Yeah, so
I didn't have those first.
Really? Oh no!
This is basically all my fault.
That's a symptom of.
Yeah, so I loved the Boglins when I was a kid. I had the blue one. He's called Vlob, and he was my best buddy. Took him everywhere. And obviously, then I had a son. You know, he's 5 now, and so for his 5th birthday, I was going to give him my old Boglin. So I called my parents up and be like, "Have you still got that Boglin I gave you to look after?" And they're like, "No, Chris, we threw it away." And I was like, "No, it's worth $500. What are you doing?" Anyway, obviously I didn't really care that much. I was like, I thought you would have done that, but okay. So I thought that was that. And then I looked online, I realized the Boglins are back, you know. So I messaged the guys that were making them and were like, you know, how do I get one? And they said, oh, go to this, you know, theboglins.com and order one, you know, order them. So I ordered one for him for his birthday. And then I thought this could be a great Doctor Who Velocity episode. So yeah, so we got a few companions. And
I hope he doesn't break wind at this moment.
I kind of wanted to do something a little more in camera as well. So
but you got his hand in the right place. That's for sure.
Yeah. So it's basically wanted to do one of those like kind of creature puppet type of little shorts. And yeah, it just seemed like a fun thing to do. And obviously there's a little bit of a built-in fan base for the Boglins. You know, there's a few Facebook groups and stuff of people that love that stuff. So I thought we'll give it a go.
The first thing I thought when I saw the Boglins and all that, and I watched the episode, I was like, you've got to team these guys up with the Patang. I'm not kidding. They could have one heck of a fight.
Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah, I totally. And I think I like doing things on Velocity that the BBC would just never be able to do. And of course, they're never going to do a Boglins episode. So why not?
No.
I'm sorry. I cut it off because Brian was talking, but Mark Robinson said something about your shirt and you were flashing it a little bit there. So
I just said thank you.
Oh, okay. More on the Sesame Street out here, of course. Dave, you had a question for the team.
Yeah, since we saw on the commercial a very different costume. I'm curious what where the visual of your Doctor came from, and kind of the evolution from that costume to this one.
Well, first I think for me, like I always thought it was weird that they always wore the same thing. Like they've for 200 days or 400 days or 5 years or something. You know, it's.
Does he ever take a shower? Does she go?
Right, like when you can change that shirt, you know.
That's right. How many suspenders?
Why not? You've got access to historical clothes from all different times, and I think just like as a theater nerd, I like that, and I'm quite. I embrace the costume in my comedy as well, and I own this T-shirt. So I wanted to have fun with the Doctor and what the Doctor wears, and I wanted that to be sort of fun, but also something practical. This last outfit with the yellow pants and the boots and all, Chris actually picked that one out and sort of showed me the different elements, and I was like, oh, I like these elements. Yes, I like these elements, and they're one of my favorite pants. I wear them outside of filming Doctor Who, and I wear those boots all the time. I get lots of compliments on them. I wish the jacket is a little bit tighter fitting than I think my action Doctor will needs. So I might switch that one up, but I'll probably keep the pants for a while. I really like those.
Which outfit do you like? Which is let me put it in two questions. Which one is the most comfortable? Which one do you like as far as appearance is concerned?
I think I like the overall aesthetic of this most recent one.
Mhm.
But I definitely would change the jacket moving forward just to have a little more movement. I like the hat. I like the style of it. I just need a little more.
It's not comfortable because we bought it on Amazon.com for like $20. So
yeah, exactly. So I'm gonna think about that as a piece and invest in one that fits a little bit more nicely. But I do really like that one. I like the pink jacket too. The one with the pink jacket. I probably prefer the black hat though, personally.
Mystery Science
I
Theater.
as the hat guy of the show, I love that first black hat. I absolutely adore it.
Yeah,
It
that's
looks
my
amazing.
favorite.
Speaking of hats and wands, Miss Mackenzie Floor had a question for you.
Ooh. Well, I'm going to kind of do a two-parter here because one is going to go aesthetics, because actually this is a question I asked before and I thought it was a really cool story that you told behind it. So I'm going to ask that one and then go to my other one that I actually wanted to ask. So your Sonic. I love the story of the creation of your Sonic. Can you tell those who haven't know the story?
Yes. My Sonic screwdriver. Peanut, can you grab my Sonic screwdriver? So when I went to build a Sonic screwdriver, I had a whole bunch of craft supplies and beads and Legos and things like that. And I just kind of kept putting different pieces together to see what fit together best on a lollipop stick, basically just all the beads and the Legos all around until it fit and it held tightly and it looked kind of neat. And then I put some Lego claws together, and once I had it all built, I sprayed it, spray painted it silver. And this year, in this last, or not this last episode, but the one before that, I added a little chain to it, so it like loops on my pocket, and then so I got like this little cool chain hanging. I like.
Nice.
I thought I could see something different about it, but I wasn't sure what it was. So yeah, the chain. That's awesome.
Yeah, I added a little chain to it. I had to add I think a bead to the end of it as well to stabilize it. It was starting to get a little wobbly.
That is so cool. And then the other question that I have, it might be even your husband will jump in on this one too. It had to do with, I want to say it was episode 5, I want to believe it is. It's where you have one of the actress who played the mom, and she comes back and she loses her body. And so at one point she has to turn into this mechanical person. And I thought that was really cool. How was that done special effect wise?
I'm glad that I'm glad that resonated with you, because Jen Potcher, she obviously played Agnes Waterhouse in our first episode, and then she goes and plays a mum character for a couple of episodes, and she's a great local actress, and she always gets the mum role, that boring kind of mum role where it's like, it's just someone's mum in a short film. And I really wanted to like not have her be this like boring middle-aged mum, and be like, no, she needs to be able to kick some butt. So what we decided to do in the Christmas episode where the Vashta Narada steal her body was, to turn her into a sort of cyborg hologram. So she could have, so she could have this action role, give her a bit more, make her a bit more like Sarah Connor in the Terminator films or something, So we did that, and it was we had like a motion capture skeleton. I downloaded a bunch of these motion capture files and applied them to this 3D model of a kind of metallic skeleton. And then we just have a kind of on set doing a similar motion, and then we'd sort of track the kind of 3D rendered one to it. And so then we could like blend between them. And that was one of the first times we'd done a whole kind of CG character that was actually, animated, which was kind of cool. The technology for doing like full humanoid animation is, it's very difficult to like animate that manually. And it was only a couple of years ago that you started to be able to, download these fully animated files and kind of put it together. So it doesn't require a whole team of ILM people to make it, So it's kind of fun. Yeah, it was, and we'll definitely be bringing her back for episodes in the future as well. So
good. That was another one. I'm like, we can see her again.
I love Gloria. Gloria is one of my favorite companions.
Yeah,
awesome.
I want to just take just a minute to tell you about one of our other actors, Dylan. Dylan was in episode 4 as he was the guy running the raves in the Weeping Angels episodes. And then in our Tron episode, he is the guy that goes into the Tron world.
Mm-hmm.
He actually this is a bit of a sad story, but it hopefully has a happy ending.
Yes, we meant the Tron. There you go. Keep going.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Dylan was in a real life, really bad car wreck, and unfortunately, he broke his neck, and he is wheelchair bound now. He can't move his arms or legs, and this was over a year ago. Obviously, Dylan, if you're watching, hope you're doing well, mate. And he's back in Boise, Idaho now. He had a year's worth of treatment in the hospital, and he's back and about, learning to adapt to life in a wheelchair, basically. But the great thing is we've been chatting to him, and we're going to be bringing him back. So I'm really looking forward to the next few episodes to get Dylan back in it. And as much as being in a wheelchair could be a restriction, we're hoping to have a lot of fun with it and see what we can do. Special effects. I was telling him I'm going to have him in a thing flying up the street or something. We'll figure something out. So it should be. I'm really looking forward to bringing it back in a future episode.
Okay. Well, speaking of future episodes, we're just going to take our final break. When we return, we'll continue our discussion with Krystal and Chris. Doctor Who Velocity, don't forget to check them out on their YouTube channel. You can just look it up by name, Doctor Who Velocity. When we return, please continue to log on, stay tuned in, and we'll become part of the ledge. There we go. I love that sticker.
And that's our third segment. Some great stuff in there. Just so much fun. I'm just gonna pull that up. So we had some comments here. Got to admire Chris and Krystal's dedication to make their Doctor Who fan films. A lot of Whovians who do the same thing on YouTube, like a lot of Whovians. Yes, that's one of the nice things, about the fandom. When people make good fan fiction and good fan films, it does so much for so many people. We're talking about their kids on YouTube. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of kids on YouTube, and I know I've certainly tried to keep kids off of my channel as much as possible, but they pop in from time to time. We were talking about the commercials. We kind of missed the toilet lady. Yes. I so do I. She's a lot of fun. Her book's a lot of fun. Her film was a lot of fun. Timescales popped in partway through looking what was up. Roger's like, do you watch Doctor Who Velocity? And I was explaining that we were watching an edited down version of our previous interview with Doctor Who Velocity, since they do have a new episode coming out. And we have not had a chance to get them on the show. We are still hoping to do that. We'll see. Hopefully that'll happen before Shooty's thing comes out. Thing. His thing. Whatever thing that Shooty does. This isn't, as I said, an edited down version of this interview. It ran a full 90-odd minutes, including the after party. Now, when I edit down the bits of the TARDIS segments, I take that 90 minutes down to 10 minutes. That's my benchmark, is give or take credits, 10 minutes. So for this, I had to cut it down to about an hour. Because, duh. I'm also rambling a lot in between these, so we're going to go a little bit over an hour. We've got another 16 minutes, I think, in the next segment here. But let's look at a few more comments while we're going through here. Melanie popping in, saying hello. Thank you guys for having a conversation in there. Boglins, Pating, and Adipose together. Oh, goodness. Roger, yes, it's been a few years. I see there's now a new one. Yes, it is. Boglins. Velocity is incredible. Had no idea there was a new episode recently. Yeah, the new episode came out, I want to say, about a month ago. So I believe maybe a month and a half. Again, we were hoping to get them on sooner, but it didn't quite work out. I feel like it was the end of February that it came out. I'd watched the 3 of them in that episode. Oh, yeah, no. It's so many. All the puppets together. How I've missed Christian's segues. Yes. Cool. I was watching Mackenzie on Twitch this morning. She was piloting a crow in Japan in some crazy new game. I was planning to log on to Mackenzie's stream, and it just didn't work out. My day has been a bit crazy. How about the Boglins, Patang, Adipose, and Gremlins all together with a Pokemon in a few episodes? Yes. Gotta love the Gremlins. We have to have some Gremlins. TheRatHole, thank you. This proves that Americans can make Doctor Who also. Well, I mean, to be fair, Chris is a Brit. It's a good thing series 1 or 14 will be on the afternoon for us here in the US. Yep. Mixed feelings about that. Yeah, no, for sure. One of the best fan series is Star Trek Continues. The shooty thing coming to Disney Plus soon. Yes. So here's what I'm going to bring up. I'm going to give a quick trailer of teaser stuff that they put up last year. I just have to find where it is, and then we'll bring up the last segment of Doctor Who Velocity.
I've seen worlds rise and fall, empires crumble to dust. I've fought against evil in the darkest corners of the universe and witnessed wonders beyond your wildest dreams. I've traveled to the past and seen the birth of stars, and to the future where the last embers of humanity still burn bright. And every time I return, I'm reminded of one simple truth. The universe is infinite, and so is the potential for adventure. I've faced impossible odds and conquered them. I've made friends and lost them. But no matter where I go or what I do, I am always reminded of the one constant. The call of the unknown, the thrill of the unexpected, and the promise of something new. And I will never stop answering that call, because that is the true essence of the Doctor.
Hey Doc, it's your old buddy Jeremy. I hope this message gets to you in time. I'm on a bit of a time crunch. Oxygen levels low, radiation levels high. Oh, and I think I'm stuck in another dimension. Don't leave me hanging, Doc. I'm counting on you.
Chris, I got a few videos for everybody to see. Which one would you like me to play? I got TikTok, Party Reel, Reel 3, and Reel...
I have no idea.
Just pick one at random? Okay, here we go. Let's see this. I'm just giving away all the secrets today.
Yeah, so we obviously had a scene with them, a guy flying around on a little UFO escaping the Boglins or whatever. So yeah, that's actually just a kid's swimming pool upside down with some fake legs stuck on it, and that was a lot of fun. I kind of wanted to try and do more practical effects in this one just because they're such a giggle, and we're pretty happy with how it came out.
And let's see this.
What's up, guys? Our new Doctor Who fan film featuring the Boglins is out now.
I think I just got bit by a creature with clown makeup on.
Each one has its own distinct personality.
That's right. We're dropping our new episode tonight featuring the Boglins. So head on over to YouTube, like and subscribe, and watch them all. Why not?
What's up, guys? The new Boglin episode is out. Please go check it out. Woo!
And as you can see, we've got the live feed going out over here. And Dave, if you can bring over Doctor Who Velocity, let's show everybody what they've got over there.
I was just gonna be a jerk and bring up the live feed on the live just to get super meta.
Remember remember the dimensional shift that we had when that happened? There we go.
We're going into a vortex.
Yeah,
I knew it.
Question is, did we bring a... No, we don't have the link in there just yet, but we will.
We will.
That's okay. Give me a moment, and I will happily...
So Dave's going to bring in the Doctor Who Velocity YouTube channel. Krystal, and Chris, of course, what is the future of Doctor Who Velocity? Where do you want to take your Doctor? Who do you want your Doctor to meet? And so on.
That's That's a good question, because the thing about the brilliant thing about time and space,
and don't say Boglins again.
sci-fi
You had to get something different. There we go.
is you can
Why am
go
I here?
anywhere. You know, the sky's the limit, and anything you can think of in the future, anything you can think of in the past. I like stories that play with going to the past and how that affects the present or the future. So I might have a story in that direction.
Okay.
But I also love what Chris comes up with, and when he sends me a script and he says I'm gonna buy 8 Boglins, and we're gonna make Doctor Who Boglins. I'm like,
oh my God,
brilliant! Let's do it. Cool, sounds great. I love puppets. Let's
Chris,
make Doctor Who. So.
Chris, when did Krystal become an addict? When was the exact date that this all happened?
And there's the Sonic.
There's the Sonic. There is the Sonic. Give it a close up right there.
Here you guys go. You can see that it's just Lego, and that's all bead right here. But I didn't fasten the bead, so you can twirl it around on the stick, and then that's where it hooks onto the chain. But it's it's not mechanical. I do have to manually. It's not quite as technologically advanced as the Doctor's.
It still does the job that the Doctor's Sonic does work.
Chris gives it all the magic.
There you go. But Krystal, I really, is there like one person in mind that was like, I want to explore this person? Because you had Agnes. You had Sophie Aldred as Ace, and don't forget that we had actually Ace make an appearance on Doctor Who Velocity, and I'm still bitter.
How could you do that?
Spoiler alert! I'm just letting you know I'm bitter. That's all I'm doing. But I'm going to say this after childhood end. We now know that Ace has a multiverse, so I have accepted this little dimensional kerfluffle in Doctor Who Velocity with Ace. I'm allowing it now. But
just want to say,
seriously,
massive shout out to Carl, who just said we did well on a low budget there in the comments. That was very kind of you, Carl.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, I think we don't know exactly what the next episodes will be. Usually it will just like marinate. It's just something will be like ding.
Yeah.
It's hard though, because we did an episode Juana Innes, which was the 7th one, which we were in Mexico, which is all green screen. And that ended up taking me over, I think, 380 days from start to finish. Because we stagger them. But from the beginning of that one to the end of it was like a real long one. And so I'm trying to focus on ones that we can make a little bit quicker, It's kind of hard on a low budget. And you guys know this as well. Like YouTube is just like, everyone's like, feed me more content, give me more episodes, make them longer, and I'm like, there's only so much kind of, energy and sanity that I can provide. Before I crack, and so we don't have any firm ideas, but we definitely want to explore some more Doctor Who Velocity as soon as possible.
You asked if there was anyone in history I'd like to meet.
Yes.
Just I myself, and this is the Juana Inez was in there. She's a writer and a poet and a woman, and so that was great. But the other one, and I know how hard Juana Inez episode was going to make, so we're probably never going to this place. But I would love to go to meet Lady Murasaki. I think it's Shikibu. She wrote the first fictional novel. It's called The Tale of Genji. It's a really sweet book. You want
You want me to find 10 Japanese actors in Boise, Idaho? Is what you're saying?
Yes, that's what I'm saying. I know we're never going there. We're never doing this. I'm just saying this would be a brilliant time in history and a brilliant character to.
It's definitely that is a challenge.
Can we make Japan on a green screen, Chris? Can we do it?
Yeah, I make for a job, I make a lot of corporate videos and stuff, and because we're based in Boise, and getting any kind of diversity is always a challenge here because it's mostly white folks, so it's a nightmare. But I don't know. We could do most places. I don't know if we can do Japan, but we could try.
So Carl's got a question here. Yeah, you may have already answered this one, but do you guys write all your episodes yourself?
Yeah, basically, kind of. So between me and Krystal, we've come up with the ideas for all of them. We did have on the WHOniverse episode, we did have one of my friends help write it. The nature of the production, makes it that it's kind of important that we have a pretty firm guide on what happens and how many scenes there are and stuff, because it's the minute you go outside of what is actually possible for us to make, it suddenly starts all falling apart. It's one of those things where it's like, okay, if we're going to have 2 or 3 actors, I need to know who those actors actually are, and they need to be able to actually come to my house for a certain amount of time. And so it's very hard to juggle what's, the reality of our production with what stories we want to tell.
Yeah, there's infinite stories we want to tell, but you go, okay, these are the places that, when you're writing it, whether you can actually make that or not. The first episode, I wrote that one, and I had no idea what Chris could or couldn't make, or I know what I can craft. I don't know that it'll look good. So that was a learning experience. And then the next couple we sort of co-wrote, and that was a little bit easier to understand what we can, I might write something and send it to him, and he goes, I don't, that's not something I can make. So maybe if we do it this way, here's this scene, but in a way that I can make. And so, the ones after that, Chris has been more in charge of the writing for sure, because he's the one that has to make it, really.
Even on a 0 budget, even the scene length is difficult. Like if a 1 minute drama scene is going to take me about 4 hours to film, something like that. So if you make the scene 2 or 3 minutes long, you've got a problem, because you either have to have the actors over, for a whole day, whereas people have jobs, or you have to get them to come back. And if you have to get them to come back, on a 0 budget production, you'll invariably get them come back in a different t-shirt.
Or with a haircut.
And even in this episode, in the Boglins episode, if you watch, so Magdalene is wearing a Care Bears t-shirt, and the Care Bears t-shirt switches from the original Care Bears t-shirt to a plain white t-shirt that we printed a Care Bears Photoshop logo on that I made, because she lost the t-shirt that she wore in that scene. So, you can, as you can imagine, if you're asking people for a favor, I'll come to my house and be in my weird Doctor Who episode. The next day they come back and they've shaved their beard or whatever, and you're like, oh my God. It's a bit of a weird juggle trying to, work all these things out and write something coherent. And it's funny, I got a YouTube review come through this morning, and it said, shows potential, but too quick. And which sounds like a criticism, but for me that was a compliment, because I had 2 aims with this show: was to show my potential as what I could do if I had a budget, and 2, to make it really quick, so it was like in and out, and there's as a filmmaker, there's more to me, but this is a kind of experiment,
and thus the velocity.
One of the we've actually got audio adventures on our YouTube. I think there's 3 of them now.
Yes.
And the great thing I love about doing the audio adventures is you can write anything, and they are the most ridiculous, wacky episodes I've done, because you can just write, anything can happen. Like, oh, now we're on a planet with dinosaurs. Oh, now we're flying in space, and you can do whatever you want. You don't have to worry about the budget or anything like that.
So what you're saying is, in the audio, you could go to somewhere like, say, Japan.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, samurai, dude.
Yeah, totally.
Well, Chris shut off his audio. He couldn't.
Yeah, Hail of Genji. We could.
Yeah,
we could.
That is an excellent idea.
Just imagine it, kids. You're in Japan.
If you're wondering what I'm doing, I'm actually deconstructing our studio, because this is our corporate video studio, which doubles as a Doctor Who set. And if I don't get it ready for some corporate videos, I'm going to get fired by my boss. So
That's not a good idea.
he was like, you can do your podcast this afternoon, but just make sure you get the studio ready for tomorrow. So that is what I am doing.
One question I did want to ask, what kind of system and software do you use for your CGI? Because it's really good, for a low budget. I'm really enjoying that stuff.
Oh, thanks. So we use the Adobe Suite is most of the stuff, obviously the editing, but a lot of the effects are done in Blender, which is actually a free open source software. And so a lot of it is just like the thing about visual effects is it just depends on the tone of the show. Obviously, our show looks kind of wacky, and it means that you can get away with slightly kooky looking effects, which in some ways helps with the storytelling, because it means everyone's suspending their disbelief because none of it looks real anyway. It's like it's kind of like you're watching an animation slightly. And that's kind of what I was going for. I don't know if you ever seen, I grew up watching Power Rangers when I was a kid. And I just love the low budgetness of the show. You could they zoom in on someone's feet and then they jump in the air kind of thing. And that style of editing was kind of what I first learned. So that's kind of, I've always wanted to do those sort of wacky action scenes.
The frightening part is I actually remember the Boglins. When they first came out.
I think those are just one of those toys that came out and it was like a hidden gem.
How old are you, Christian? Am I allowed?
If you had an unlimited budget, what would you do with the show? Let's say budget was not an issue.
So I think we'd be running into the same problem that we'd be better than the official show, wouldn't we, if that was the case?
I would say that about this podcast.
I was gonna say, I'd say you. There's an argument to be made that you already are. If I had an unlimited budget and was therefore AKA running the actual Doctor Who show, let's face it, that's what you would be if you had a huge budget. I would get a writer's room in and not try and write every episode myself, Chris Chibnall, and just try and just allow people to develop ideas and criticize each other in the writer's room and think about things, so things just don't randomly happen.
So I'm gonna say good night and thank you.
We're gonna end it.
I've had my little man stuck downstairs for a couple hours now, and I want to go give him a hug and to make sure he hasn't set the place on fire down there.
Make sure he's got plenty of snacks. Yeah.
Make sure he hasn't put that cake I gave him down the bed.
That's fine. We're gonna go ahead and end the episode. Thank you, folks.
Thank you so much, guys.
Boom and boom and boom. Hello. We are back. That was our last segment. We were a little over an hour, which is because I ramble more than I thought I would. Let's take a look. We have a few more comments here before we go. Music excellent. Yes. I kind of wish they had a soundtrack album. Roger pointed, he's a big fan of Doctor Who fan fiction. I posted a few of those as we were talking. Sophie Aldred is so cool. Loved interviewing her. So did I. Oh my God. We've had Sophie on twice, and she was just absolutely fabulous. I can't wait to see Sophie in the Unit spinoff whenever it's released. Assuming that's how that goes, yes. I want Ace and Graham. That is the only spinoff I want. Those two had such chemistry together. I remember realizing I could never be in Big Finish because I don't have a British accent. Sometimes they have not British people in there. Now, this is really for awesome for Americans that might want to make their own. Inspirational. Yes, agreed. Yeah, time to go watching it. Yeah, definitely go back, watch all of their stuff. They are absolutely fabulous. We will just pop back over here. There's their YouTube channel. Again, and we pop back over here to the comments. Oops, I've lost my place now. Haha. Backing up. There we go. When he said filming in Japan, I was like, what? Our family lives in Japan, and every March with my family lives in Japan every March with wife's family. So many wonderful places to film. From Akita to Mount Fuji. Ideas. Loads of decent fan base Who media out there. This is very, very true. You should be here when they do Big Finish reviews, and Chris Chapman from Big Finish is the special UK guest at. Yeah, no, Chris has only been on the one time, I believe, but we've definitely had other people from Big Finish. We love doing Big Finish reviews. We do have more of those coming down the pipes. Whether we have it before or after the new season, I don't know. Yeah, definitely interview him. He's wonderful. This whole community is absolutely wonderful. Yeah, audio adventures don't have to have sets. It's so true. Doctor and the TARDIS have never been to Mount Fuji. It's true. So many options. Tasty cake. Hashtag guru. Sort of like how RTD is writing too many episodes now. There should be a team. I think this was intent. I think there's more of a team for future episodes. He certainly has in the past. But for the current season, I think he needed to really just re-steer the ship very hard. It took a really hard turn. Maybe you could bribe Stephen Moffat now that he's back with RTD. And yeah, there we go. Boom. I have a BBC audio writer that I'm harassing now to try to get Mount Fuji into Doctor Who. Brilliant. Hey, Reverend, are you going to get a Boglin now? Yeah, you should do that. I remember this episode. I made a comment, so no. I just made a new video on my page, live tomorrow. Yay. Dave looks so young. Yeah, thanks. Everyone just reminds me how old I freaking am. But there you go. Check out Doctor Who Velocity on their YouTube channel. While we're doing all of that, please consider subscribing to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/TheRatHole.ca. I'm looking to try and grow that. I'm also on Twitch at the same, but Twitch doesn't do much for me. I'm really pushing the YouTubes. So if you haven't already, please pop over, give me a subscribe. I'm not doing anything on live streaming tonight. Ooh, I do need to show one thing though. This has been in the background of my last few episodes. It's a stuffy hedgehog. It is not an alien. It is, in fact, a game called Park Life. I want to look at this more. There is a solo mode they're redoing. And so I'm going to be playing this hopefully sometime in the next little bit, maybe next week's show. It goes on to Kickstarter at the end of the month here, I think 29th. So I really want to get this. I wanted to show this off because this is just absolutely, how adorable is this? And this is, this is a prototype of the stuffy, but they actually having this. So they are going to be on Kickstarter at the end of the month. So you can tune into my channel for more information on Park Life. Other than that, thank you all. Got a few more comments here. Old man alert. Thanks, Melanie. Thanks. I'm just, I suppose there's no Christian, so everyone's got to make fun of me, right? Lots to talk about Kate Herron doing more writing for Doctor Who in the future. Yes. I resemble that remark. Thank you, Dan. Cheers. Cheers to us. Yes, it's early evening and I'm still drinking coffee. Old is the new young. It's true. Yeah, YouTube, but I still do Twitch. Yes. Like I said, when I go live, now that I can again, I go live to both. Twitch requires you to be very, very scheduled and regular, and I can't. My schedule doesn't work. I'm not in my space. It's just not a thing. I can't talk about it, but I do know something about you a little bit. You know, but Dan, at least you're living the retired life. Yes. Everyone have a great day from California. Yes, thank you. So yeah, we're going to take off again. We will be back next week. I have no idea with what, but in the meantime, thank you very much for watching the show today. Make sure you like this video wherever it is you're watching it. Make sure you're commenting, even now, because we're going to bring those up during the end credits. Share out this video. Share the love. Make sure you're subscribing to me. Make sure you're subscribing to the Legend of the Traveling TARDIS. And until next time, take it away, Tony.